Okay, this is assignment 7, Unit 17, 1.2. Um, Here I have to answer three questions using a YouTube link. The target company will be PlayStation, and the role I will be applying for will be a junior data analyst. So, question one, why do you want to be a data analyst? So, I would like to be a data analyst because I thoroughly enjoy the challenge of problem solving. For me, I like the idea of coming up with the best strategy to achieve victory. Whether it's overcoming whatever constraints or obstacles are present, it's actually something that I consider really fun. And in fact, it's something that I do as a hobby, as I like to play a lot of strategy games. And so, when using your mind to come up with a plan to tackle something, or and sometimes you have to adapt yourself to changing conditions, and so that's the same thing whether in a game or in a business, and I like doing it. With the data analyst career, it's a similar very type of process. You're given a specific business problem, and your task is to use the data to determine the best course of action or strategy that the business should pursue to tackle the problem. And while I wouldn't say that being a data analyst is just a game, it does have that, and it does have that element of that challenge of coming up with the right strategy to win. And so that's why I like it. Question two, why do you want to work at this company? Okay, so I would like to work at PlayStation because I've been a long time fan. Ever since the first PlayStation came out, at least in the USA, around like the mid '90s, when it first popularized, it gave everyone that demo disc from Pizza Hut. That was the one that everyone got back in the mid '90s, and that's the one I really enjoyed playing a lot. And it was just a lot of fun. And as I mentioned earlier, yeah, I like playing video games for fun. And in fact, I've been playing video games on the PlayStation for almost 25 years now. So I'm very familiar whether it's unique IPs, and I definitely understand the gaming industry because, well, I'm a big consumer of it. Additionally, I do believe I would mesh well with the people who work at PlayStation because as I would assume they would have the same passion for video games as I do. Question three. Tell me a time you had to handle conflict with your colleagues. Okay. So I once worked in collections, and uh, meaning that I had to follow up with delinquent clients who had outstanding payments that were more than a month past due. Um, because sometimes it's like a new client and they just forget to pay, stuff like that. Okay, so there was this one client where, you know, I talked to them on the phone, and then it was like, oh, okay, well, I'm sorry, I missed the payment. And so I was able to, so that, we discussed like, okay, well, if you miss payment, can you please pay, blah, 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 blah. And they said, yeah, sure, we'll pay. And so and it's like, oh, it just slipped up. And then so I said, hey, you know, if you could give me your credit card info and your permission to pay all your outstanding bills, that would be great. And so they said yes. And so I, like I said, my job was to pay bills past that 1 month mark. Anything for the current month, that's for the billing department because two separate departments. So I paid all the outstanding bill past that 1 month period. However, there were still bills for the remaining month, and so that 1 month cut off. And so I told the coworker who was in the billing department that, hey, this client has bills for the current month. Can you pay it? Because that's your job. I didn't say that, but like, can you just please pay the current month's bills. And then he said no, and he claimed that it was my responsibility, even though it's not technically past due. It's a it's within the current month, within the 30-day um I don't know, grace period, I guess. And so you know so I recognize that, hey, maybe it's just a miscommunication. I I didn't say anything clearly. I mean, you want to resolve the conflict between the two coworkers first before you escalate it, to their supervisor or whatever. So I try to talk with him about the issues. Like, no, I think you're incorrect. It's technically not past due, at least not beyond that 1 month period, and so you're responsible for it. Of course, he wasn't having it. I was the new guy. It could have been a variety of reasons, really. And so he just completely disregarded me. Okay, so I was like, okay, well, if talking to him isn't going to work, I need to escalate it now. And so I decided to email my supervisor, and I thought that emailing was a good step because it does two things. First, it creates a documentation of the incident. And so when there's an incident in office, it should be documented. Okay, this happened. So I emailed my supervisor, and I also felt, because it's like I wouldn't want to just barge into my boss's office, saying, hey, my coworker, da 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 da. You want to, it's like, hey, can we discuss this? Bring it to his attention, and then when he's ready to address it, then he'll address it. Because of course, it's a place of business, and so there's a certain professional decorum, and there's also kind of a chain of command that you have to follow. So I recognize that, and so while I was waiting for my boss to reply to the issue, to reply to my email, I I just went ahead, took the client's credit card, because like I said, he did give me permission, and then I paid the bills of the current month. They technically weren't past due. They're part of the, because it's net 30, right? And so I paid the bills, and because I just didn't want outstanding, otherwise the issue would just be unresolved, and I'm like, so I just went ahead and did it. So my boss then called me to his office, and then of course I re-explained what happened. He knows the card is working, but he refuses to pay it, even though he has the client's permission. And so I told him the situation, and then he agreed with me that, yep, it's not a collections duty. Collections, meaning me, it's not the collections agent's responsibility to do non-outstanding bills, or past due bills. Bills that are not past due. It's billings department, and so he told me he would resolve it, and yeah, and so that's basically how I handle that situation. And I think that's the last question. Thank you.